Have you ever loved someone so deeply you'd give them your everything, only to find they'd already traded you for someone else? My name is Mark, and this is my story for Cheating Stories Diary, where betrayal meets its match in silence. If you believe in second chances, hit subscribe and tell us in the comments. What's the worst betrayal you've ever faced? Let's dive into the moment my world shattered. It was my 40th birthday, a milestone I'd looked forward to for months. The dining room glowed with soft light, the table dressed in crisp linen napkins and a chocolate fudge cake adorned with 10 candles. One for each year I'd poured my soul into raising my daughter, Lily. I'd spent the morning polishing the silverware, expecting laughter, warmth, maybe a heartfelt toast. Instead, Lily's voice sliced through the air like a shard of glass. "You're nobody," she sneered, her friend's giggles stinging like salt in a wound. "You fix pipes. That's all you'll ever be." My wife, Sophia, didn't miss a beat. Her laughter joined the chorus, her wine glass tilting as she added, "It's time you know, Mark. You were always temporary." The candles flickered, as if too ashamed to burn. The room felt colder, the air heavier. I didn't flinch. I didn't beg. I stood, my legs steady despite the ache in my chest, walked to our bedroom, and packed a single duffel bag. By midnight, I was on the highway, the city lights fading in my rearview mirror, replaced by the endless stretch of an unanswered question. I met Sophia when I was 22, a wide-eyed dreamer with a paintbrush and a head full of grand ideas. I was the practical one, the guy who turned her visions into reality. She'd sketch blueprints for our future. A cozy home, a family, a life filled with color, and I'd lay the foundations, wire the lights, unclog the drains. That's how we worked. I built the life she imagined, piece by piece, while she added the flourishes. When Lily was born, I was the first to hold her, her tiny body nestled in my calloused hands. I promised her the world, vowing to work harder, sacrifice more, to give her everything I never had. I thought love meant providing double shifts at the plumbing company, missed dinners with friends, hands rough from years of fixing other people's messes. But somewhere along the way, Sophia's pride in me faded. She stopped saying we and started saying me. Late nights became her norm, her excuses flimsier with each passing month. Receipts for dinners I never ate piled up in her purse. Lily, once my little shadow, began echoing her mother's disdain, calling me Mark instead of Dad, her hugs replaced by eye rolls. The clues weren't loud, but they were there, whispering in the quiet moments. A second phone, tucked in the side pocket of Sophia's purse, discovered when I was searching for aspirin during a sleepless night. The screen lit up with messages from James. Reservations for 2, photos of them laughing, his arm draped over her shoulders, her smile brighter than I'd seen in years. My stomach churned, but I didn't confront her. That's not who I am. I'm not built for screams or slammed doors. Instead, I watched. I listened. Silence is sharper than a shout. It cuts deep, leaves no trace, and remembers everything. Lily's rejection hurt worse than the texts. She mimicked James, a man she'd never met, while spitting on the father who'd raised her. I didn't cry. I didn't break. I decided if they thought I was temporary, I'd leave a mark they couldn't erase. 2 weeks later, I moved into my cousin's spare room, an hour outside the city. The distance gave me space to breathe, to think, to plan. Revenge, like plumbing, is about pressure and timing. You don't rush it, you find the weak points, apply force, and let the system collapse under its own weight. I'd spent years fixing pipes for powerful people. Lawyers, cops, accountants, even a judge or two. They owed me favors, no questions asked, because when their basements flooded at 2 a.m., I was the one who showed up. I called in those favors quietly, my voice calm, my requests precise. No one hesitated to say yes. First, I dug into James. His 3 bistros, all upscale, were registered in Sophia's name to dodge taxes. A clever move, but sloppy. Public records showed his history. Minor fraud charges, gambling debts, a charming liar who'd skated by on charisma. Sophia didn't know the half of it. I did. I spent nights cross-referencing bank statements, property records, anything I could access legally. Every detail was a thread, and I was weaving a net. Then came the evidence. Years ago, I'd installed cameras in our home for security, basic models to deter break-ins. This time, I upgraded, hiding them in places no one would look. A smoke alarm in the living room, a vent in the hallway, a lamp in the bedroom. I accessed the feeds from my laptop, watching my old life unfold like a movie I hadn't signed up for. Sophia and James in my bed, their laughter grating as they mocked the clueless handyman. They talked openly about their plans, draining our accounts, liquidating my retirement fund, starting fresh somewhere new. They'd already begun. Sophia had forged my signature on a joint account form, moving half our savings to an account I couldn't touch. She didn't even hide it, assuming I was too dumb to notice. That's when I smiled. A cold, quiet smile. They'd underestimated the man who fixed their world. My plan unfolded in steps, each one deliberate, each one final. Step 1, bank fraud. I reported the forgery to the bank, providing time-stamped proof, screenshots of the form, our original signatures for comparison, even a photo of the account statement showing the transfer. The bank froze everything within hours. Every transfer she'd planned stalled. Every penny locked down. Sophia called me that night, her voice laced with panic, but I let it go to voicemail. Silence was my answer. Step 2, the IRS. I sent an anonymous tip, backed by a neatly organized package of files, bank records, property deeds, evidence of undeclared income from the bistros. I'd spent weeks color-coding the documents, making it impossible for the auditors to ignore. They descended on the restaurants like vultures, audits scheduled before Sophia could blink. James's name wasn't on the deeds, but his fingerprints were all over the books. I knew he'd squirm. Step 3, Lily's trust fund. When she was born, I'd started it with every overtime check, every bonus, every scraped-together dollar. It was set to unlock at 25, but I'd built in conditions. I contacted the lawyer who drafted it and added a new clause. Lily would only access it by proving independence. No handouts, no parental cosigners, no gifts from Sophia or James. Let's see how far her entitlement carried her when she had to stand on her own. Step 4, the video. I had one clip, just one, that captured everything. Sophia and James in our kitchen, laughing about ruining the idiot, detailing their plan to bleed me dry. I uploaded it to an unlisted server and sent the link to Sophia's boss at her upscale design firm, a company that prided itself on integrity. She was fired in 48 hours, her reputation in tatters. The firm didn't tolerate scandals, especially not ones backed by evidence. The final move was a dinner, the kind of scene you'd see in a movie, but this was real. I called Sophia, my voice low, broken, saying I'd sign whatever they wanted if we could meet one last time. For closure. They agreed, their smugness palpable through the phone. We met at James's flagship bistro, a sleek place with exposed brick and overpriced wine. Sophia wore emerald green, her victory color, her smile sharp as she sat across from me. James was there too, his tie too tight, his eyes darting. I slid an envelope across the table, my hands steady. Inside were copies of everything, bank records, IRS notices, stills from the video. Their faces froze, Sophia's wine glass trembling in her hand. You were right, I said, my voice calm, cold. I fixed things, including you. James stammered, his charm crumbling. Sophia reached for my hand, her nails grazing my skin, but I pulled back. Check your kitchen staff, James, I said, standing. One's wearing a wire. Health department's on speed dial. I tipped the waiter, a kid who looked nervous, and walked out. Their voices didn't follow. Only the silence did, my silence, the kind that buries. But the story doesn't end there. Revenge wasn't just about tearing them down. It was about rebuilding me. I moved to a small apartment, nothing fancy, just mine. I started a new business, not plumbing, but consulting, helping small businesses avoid the kind of financial traps I'd seen James fall into. I was good at it, better than I expected. My hands, once rough from pipes, now held contracts, plans, futures. Lily called 6 months later, her voicemail shaky with tears. I'm sorry, Dad, she said. I didn't know. I didn't understand. Maybe she meant it. Maybe she didn't. I didn't call back. Betrayal is a choice, and so is forgiveness. I wasn't ready for that yet. I thought about the early days when she'd sit on my shoulders at the park, her laughter brighter than the sun. Those memories hurt, but they also reminded me who I was, not a nobody, but a builder, a fixer, a man who didn't vanish. What would you have done in my shoes? Would you have screamed, walked away, or planned like I did? Drop your story in the comments. We read everyone, and yours might inspire someone else. This is Cheating Stories Diary, where we turn pain into power. Hit subscribe, share this if you've ever turned silence into strength, and don't miss our next video tomorrow. Betrayal is an art, but so is revenge. And I don't fix pipes anymore. I fix legacies. Mine. The days after that dinner were quiet, but not empty. I'd wake up early, the sunrise painting my new apartment in shades of gold. I'd make coffee, strong and black, and sit by the window thinking about the life I'd built and the one I was building now. Sophia and James's world unraveled faster than I'd expected. The IRS audits shut down one bistro then another. James skipped town, leaving Sophia to face the fallout alone. She tried calling, leaving messages that ranged from apologies to accusations. I didn't answer. Silence was still my weapon, and I wielded it well. But silence doesn't mean forgetting. I thought about Lily a lot, her first steps, her gap-toothed smile, the way she'd beg for one more bedtime story. Those memories clashed with her words on my birthday, her voice dripping with disdain. I wondered if she'd ever understand what she'd lost, not just in me, but in herself. I didn't hate her. I couldn't. But I couldn't let her back in, not yet. Love doesn't erase consequences. I started journaling, something I'd never done before. It wasn't about venting, it was about clarity. I wrote about the early years with Sophia, the way her laugh used to light up a room. I wrote about the late nights, the overtime, the sacrifices I thought were worth it. I wrote about the moment I found that phone, the way my heart pounded, not with anger, but with certainty. Writing helped me see the man I'd been and the man I was becoming. I wasn't temporary. I was permanent, not because of what I'd built for them, but because of what I was building for myself. My new business grew faster than I'd hoped. Word spread, contractors, shop owners, even a few restaurants needed someone who could spot financial leaks before they became floods. I was good at it, not just because I knew numbers, but because I knew people. I'd spent years reading rooms, listening to what wasn't said. That's what made me dangerous to Sophia and James. That's what made me valuable now. I didn't gloat. I didn't need to. The envelopes I'd slid across that table did the talking. But I did wonder about justice, about whether I'd gone too far. Late at night, when the apartment was quiet, I'd ask myself if I should have confronted them instead, given them a chance to explain. But then I'd remember the video, Sophia's laugh, James's arrogance, their plan to liquidate me like I was a line item. No, I hadn't gone too far. I'd gone just far enough. Friends asked why I didn't fight for Lily, why I didn't try to win her back. I told them it wasn't about winning, it was about truth. She'd chosen her side, and now she had to live with it. Maybe one day she'd see the man I was, not the caricature her mother had painted. Maybe she'd realize the trust fund wasn't about punishment, but about teaching her to stand on her own. Or maybe she wouldn't. Either way, I'd done my part. The Cheating Stories Diary community became a lifeline in those months. I read the comments on other videos, stories of betrayal and comeback that mirrored my own. One woman wrote about her husband's affair, how she rebuilt her life and found love again. A man shared how he exposed his partner's lies, not for revenge, but for closure. Their stories reminded me I wasn't alone. Betrayal is universal, but so is resilience. That's why I'm sharing mine. If it helps one person see their worth, it's worth every word. What's your story? Have you ever faced a betrayal that made you question everything? How did you rebuild? Drop it in the comments. We're here for it all, the pain, the comeback, the truth. Subscribe to Cheating Stories Diary for more stories that turn scars into strength, and share this if you've ever fought back with silence. Our next video drops tomorrow. Don't miss it. I used to fix pipes. Now I fix futures. And I'm just getting started.